Welcome to Yellowbrick Road. I'm Jordan. This is James, and today we're going to be talking about Ilhan Omar being anti-Semitic again. It's a routine for her. But first, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box. The website is in the intro of this very video and our past videos. So please consider donating. Check out the site, the GoFundMe account, look it up, and shed a tear for realizing we don't have free healthcare in this country. It's a shame. Okay, so I looked up all this information on what is recently happening with Ilhan Omar. The, I guess, House Committee or something like that is gonna call a meeting to basically reprimand her anti-Semitic comments. We're gonna watch a little clip from The Hill.
The House will vote Wednesday on a resolution condemning anti-Semitism in response to freshman Representative Ilhan Omar's latest controversial comments about the U.S.-Israel relationship, a senior Democratic aide said Monday. Omar has come under fire for saying at a Washington bookstore forum last week that pro-Israel advocates are pushing, quote, allegiance to a foreign country. Staffs from the offices of Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, and Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler worked on the resolution over the weekend. The senior Democratic aide said the resolution, which was first reported by Politico, was being drafted before the Anti-Defamation League sent a letter on Monday urging Democratic leaders to consider a resolution condemning Omar's remarks.
No. So what you have here is several things. First thing would be, this is that self-fulfilling prophecy playing out right in front of us, right? It's a weird logical thing happening to where let's say a real anti-Semite was saying, oh, Jews get special privilege and they're allowed to get away with shit. And then someone says a comment and people are shitting on them for it. Like Ilhan Omar saying something about AIPAC or all about the Benjamins baby. And then you get this backlash, this overwhelming backlash to where it's in news stories, headlining news stories. It's trending on Twitter. It's people on YouTube talking about it. And it's like, how did this comment get so much attention? And it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of, you guys think Jews do all this stuff, and you say we're not allowed to be criticized or whatever. But then when someone criticizes Israel, this whole backlash thing happens. It's very weird. It's like the red elephant guy talking about the white population going down. And it's like, see, well, your message is making white people not want to associate with you, or not, they don't want to look like you. So just in a revenge politics type of scenario, then they start mixing in with other races, and it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of, well, the white race is going away. Like, well, what they're doing is they're running away from you and your ideas in particular. They don't want to be associated with that. Maybe not. The other thing is a person just looking from the outside in would say, why are all these things in favor of Israel? Why are they particularly special? And as far as when it comes to criticism and things, like, people get up in arms about that. Their country could, like, the UN just condemned them for committing war crimes in the whole Palestinian protests in Gaza, to where 50 plus people died. I think it was like 1,600 plus injuries. And I don't know, that wasn't this particular thing. It was a date from March 30 something to December 31st, 2018, to where it was 183 deaths to 0 on Israel's side. And people were like, and the UN condemned them and was going to look into them for war crimes. And I'm sure, and it's like, How come no one's condemning these guys for this, especially in this country, as far as voted elected leaders and mainstream journalists like NBC, ABC, whatever, Fox, those type of guys, CNN, those type of names always take the same side when it comes to Israel. Uh, the politicians always take the same side as Israel. I believe they recently signed an anti-BDS bill, and it's like, if you're a guy just looking from the outside, like things seem stacked up to one team and one as opposed to other teams. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know though. Any thoughts? No. What the fuck is wrong with you today?
Nothing.
Who stepped on Kramer's foot today?
There's nothing.
You look a little sad about it.
You said enough. There's nothing really else to say.
I said some stuff. The point was, it was my perspective, and there happens to be another human being sitting next to me.
I didn't find anything I didn't disagree with.
So yeah, I mean, that's just how I look at it psychologically with this self-fulfilling prophecy thing. It's almost like, or that was my first point, and it's almost like Jesus, bring Jesus back. Like there will be war and stuff, and then Jesus will come back. So you create a war, and you're like, yes, that'll bring Jesus back someday. And point two is the majority of people are on Ilhan Omar's side because they're just normal people looking at this and like, why are things always stacked up on this one side? I mean, if you've heard her, she has criticized the NRA. She has criticized the pharmaceutical lobby. But there wasn't this to where they're holding a whole session to basically put her and her remarks down when they might not have been the worst things ever. In fact, she might have turned up the heat a bit with these last comments, right? Saying that there's people with dual loyalty to Israel and America. And it's like, didn't you guys, when she made a simple comment criticizing a lobbying group, all this firestorm and backlash came at her. Now she turned it up a notch. It's like, oh wow, all these guys seem to be on one side, or they seem to be on this team. It's like, I didn't say anything that bad yet. I'm getting crucified for it. So you see how you're sort of pushing her, nudging her into that? Hopefully she doesn't go too far. I don't think she will. I think she's too SJW to go too far. But yeah, everyone, as far as elected leaders holding this commission or whatever the fuck it is, they're not representing the people in no stand. Most people were like, leave her alone. She didn't say anything that bad. The number one fucking thing trending on Twitter right now is hashtag I stand with Ilhan. People are taking her side in this. Yet for some reason, the guys that are supposed to represent the people aren't representing the people. And it's just, you're just giving more evidence to people thinking that you have this dual loyalty. I don't know.
Sure, it's like short-term memory loss for some people regarding going against the Afghanistan-Iraq war. Like, you hate America, don't you? It's like, no, I just don't want them to invade. Oh, you hate your country. Get out.
And you guys are just.
No one remembers that.
And I'm trying to look at.
Nobody remembers.
I'm trying to look at this as like, what is the average person just thinking? And it's like, you guys all seem to, as far as like the establishment politicians, like Ilhan Omar's not establishment as far as
I hope not.
As far as the normal person understands, right? They see her as, Benjamin, fresh new face, whatever the fuck he says. People look at her as that, as like an outsider.
Yeah. Did his dad write that for him?
Something to where it's like an outsider coming into the establishment of politics in this country. The establishment guys always seem to follow a certain narrative. Like even when they start, even like when Republicans and Democrats start agreeing with each other, it's always like the same things where that happens. Like when it comes to war,
Foreign policy.
when it comes to yeah, when it comes to foreign policy, war, shit like that, when it involves the military, both sides seem to align with each other. When it comes to even healthcare, right? As far as establishment politicians, uh, Obamacare was basically Mitt Romney care, and the Republicans only booed because it was Obama who signed it.
Well, it's literally just. It's like one guy starts making a sandwich and he hands it off,
Yeah,
and then the other guy just continues to do it. That's why it's like no different to me. No different to me whoever gets elected, because they always seem to follow suit as far as whatever grand plan is being like acted out,
yeah,
whether it be a economic warfare or some sort of geopolitical tactics, whatever have you. You know, it's always the same. It's been the same seemingly for the last 60 years. So I mean, that's why I never really got caught up in the whole team playing thing as far as Democrat Republican.
yeah.
That's why a lot of this is just empty.
James taking the black pill today. Pause. But also, they seem to align with Israel. That's another thing where they align with. To where if it's critiquing Israel, it's automatically anti-Semitic. And they all do the APAC conferences. They all have their speeches there. Guys who are supposed to be on paper are supposed to be like rivals and shit. They align for things like that. And normal people just looking from the outside are like, that something's fishy with this. Because it's not like, well, they're supposed to be called the Holy Land, but it's not like Israel's been some holy land as far as their government actions. Like, there's documented war crimes there, and there's people reporting on that shit all the time, but nothing seems to happen with it. And I don't know them as having some sort of crazy natural resource to where we're reliant on each other or anything like that.
They do. Oh, I mean, Israel has it.
As what?
Really important natural resource. I mean, not many other people have it. Keeps them going. No, funding.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that's from the U.S.
I know.
Usually, when the U.S. gets in a partnership like that, they're helping each other out in some sort of way. But from just a normal person looking from the outside, and they don't see what's on the surface. They don't see the on the surface reason why we support them so much.
Personally, just looks like it's a business deal. That's what it looks like. And
I don't think normal people look at it that way because they don't see the business. What does funding Israel do for America?
I never
Right.
heard of that. I'm not too keen on it, but there is a theory as far as territories out there that would be ideal for a pipeline to be built, or multiple.
That's in Syria. That's why they wanted to break up Syria, to put a pipeline through it to sort of cut off Russia from supplying natural gas to Europe. But Israel's not in the way of that.
They're not supporting it in any way.
Oh, they would support it. I think Israel's interest in the Middle East is to break countries apart so that they're the number one force there, so that they don't have to worry about Islamic terror, quote unquote.
I think that's just an excuse to push their
But I don't see them as
some of their power crazed
I don't see Israel as like Saudi
governments.
Arabia.
The corrupt corrupt politicians in the Israeli government.
I don't see Israel like Saudi Arabia, to where it's like you guys have a shitload of oil, and
No, without funding from
you use the
the US.
petrodollar.
Without funding from the U.S., they're not going to have nearly enough.
Israel?
Yeah.
Well, that's the question I'm asking. Like, what do they have? What's the funding there for? Why is the funding happening? I can see why you do it with Saudi Arabia. Is it for Israel to control the region? But if you're paying them in weapons, it's like, couldn't you get any country to do that? So that's why people from the like, I'm not an expert, just people from the outside looking in, it's like, what's going on here? What is this?
To me, it seems very
Thus, the conspiracy
heavily
theories.
ideology based.
Yeah.
Which is why, as far as I don't want to give any specific incidents, but it goes back to when a war that happened there a while ago. Alleged false flag that's probably confirmed to be actual false flag, but I don't exactly know it, so I'm not going to say it.
All right. So, yeah, the comment of dual loyalty, it probably makes sense to a lot of just normal people. Just people who are like almost politically apathetic. Right? They're not looking into politics every day. They don't have all the information, but they just look at it and say, why does this happen? Why is it always taking one side of things? Right? I think the most Obama did was like, hey, you should maybe stop building settlements. And then Israel could have kept building settlements and no one would have stopped them about it.
The UN told them to stop, and then they continue to bulldoze people's houses, so I don't think that's going to do anything.
And people are like, why does that happen? Why is that allowed to happen? Right? We bombed Syria without even evidence of chemical weapons.
I just think it's an idea.
Bomb them,
I seriously think it's some people being heavy in ideology, whether it be
and that's the only.
well, it's either that or it's just corruption. Like just flat out. Well, I mean, just flat out like socially, as far as just give me money and I'll look the other way.
Yeah.
And some sort of sicko is fucking laughing up there, which means as far as a psychopath goes, the person that don't really care, they'll just pretend to believe in whatever ideology, but the guy that actually believes it, probably like the foot soldier, you know, like this is for the right cause, and he shoots a kid.
So let's close on this. I know this is, according to the U.S. State Department, this is anti-Semitic to say, but these guys are the establishment guys and the lobbying guys and the Team Israel no matter what guys. You are creating the anti-Semitic environment that you're crying about now. You're creating it from for trying to get things for one. Instead of fighting for righteousness, you're fighting for a team, and it creates the anti-Semitism that you see around you, right? And I don't mean like a faulty anti-Semitism, like, you know, Ilhan Omar. That's like faulty. That's not really anti-Semitic to say. I mean like the YouTube conspiracy guys, where it's Jews control this and Jews control that, and you're just giving them more ammo for them. So I would check these guys.
Like who?
Huh?
Like who?
There's plenty of them. I'd throw Adam Green in there. I'd throw the Red Elephant in there. I'd throw Red Ice in there. I'm sure there's more. But people that think that there's a Jewish conspiracy thing happening, they go on YouTube and they're like, there is. And here's their evidence. Take that. Anti-Semitism is rising. Let's give them a reason to say that. Here it is. Rather than resting on your morality. But, you know, who am I? I'm just a guy talking shit. That's it from us. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, comment if you feel like. Subscribe if you feel like. It's always if you feel like. Pause. Subscribe, comment if you feel like. Please consider making a donation to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box. Help them out. Help them pay their medical bills. One of our subscribers and his wife. Please consider donating. Any amount will help. And with that said, give this video a thumbs down for shit talking.
Say you wanna get in.